Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding through the back like fuck. Mustard on a beat, bro. Deep bird in rap. He a freak though, man.
Here's Johnny. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Chaos Within podcast.
Maybe with even more chaos this time because, whew, man.
I don't know which chaos going on right now.
All of it.
There's so much, and because we didn't do a last episode, you know, you can find us on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube,
iHeartRadio,
places, iHeartRadio, Amazon. I said Amazon. Did I say Amazon? I can't remember. ADHD. I get it from you.
You can't claim that.
It's rubbing off on me.
That ADHD, but it's not
Exactly.
contagious though.
Exactly. You famous. You Twitch famous now. You Blurp famous.
Not really, but okay.
On this episode of the podcast, we are going to be talking about a lot of things, especially over the weekend. Let's start with the Super Bowl. Woo! Yeah,
woo.
we're not
Unless you're a Chiefs fan like John, and then it's
we're not a sports podcast, so we're not talking about the actual Super Bowl. So,
except for the fact that John was really sad because the Chiefs lost, but he was right to assume this ahead of time, so he was prepared for the damage.
I wasn't sad. Not yet, at least. Not yet. Maybe in a couple days, I might have an emotional breakdown. Just not yet.
On the upside, Philly got exactly what was going to happen because Philly was going to burn whether they won or lost. And from what I saw, they listened to the mayor and they didn't climb the poles. They instead ripped it off and gently walked it down the street.
That's better than...
They did listen.
Yes.
She's going to have to be more specific next time.
Exactly.
Maybe just don't touch the poles at all. But I don't want to see how they do that.
Or hopefully they just don't make it to Super Bowl ever again. But hey, that's saying a lot.
They'll still find a reason.
Well, we wanted to talk about the most dog-walked man in America right now. Mr. Aubrey Graham, aka Drake. Mr. Lamar, Kendrick Lamar, and how he continues to dog walk Drake right now.
You know what, though? I feel like Kendrick Lamar is the perfect embodiment of embracing the chaos within because he embraced it and was an absolute menace. And now he's got 5 Grammys and an epic Super Bowl performance to show for it. So I feel like maybe we should embrace the chaos more. Be bigger menaces. It apparently is how you win. I'm just saying.
I'm about to drop my diss track, so...
Cool.
Silence,
I'll be ready. I'm
silence.
gonna go ahead and find out what Kendrick's fees are, so he can ghostwrite my comeback for you. So I could also get 5 Grammys.
Wait! Who said it was gonna be against you?
I don't know, because you're a certified hater, John.
Wow, you think I hate that much? Dang, sheesh.
It's all right.
Well, let's see. It was a great performance. If I gotta be honest, you know, performance wise, you know, it was okay. It was okay for me, but I wasn't there for that. I was there for, you know, what happened to Drake ever since the Not Like Us movement started. But I also love during the performance just Kendrick stay true to who Kendrick is. What Kendrick usually does with his music. So in one aspect, yes, the whole just going after Drake, which seemed to be layered throughout, and a lot of different things.
Your necklace.
Yes.
Serena Williams.
There was a line that, what did he say? He wanted, when he teased us with playing singing Not Like Us.
He said people like to sue. Like, he gonna be sued. His lawyers were waiting with fingers ready.
Yes.
How are we gonna touch this one up? It's too late, Drake. The damage is done. You lost. I'm sorry. The 5 Grammys was already the nails. This was the hammer.
Yes. And then just going on the internet, people, I came across a feed that I brought up to you earlier in the day that they were like that the Super Bowl is filmed with high production equipment that can get it Emmy nominated, the Super Bowl performance. So there is a chance that this Grammy nominated song may also become an Emmy winning song, which would be even more hilarious. So
Could you imagine a song that names you as a very horrible human being? Not only gets 5 Grammys, but had people singing along, scream singing to A minor at the Grammys, a room full of your peers, and at their Super Bowl, a stadium full of all sorts of people. And I know people were saying it at home because I was too. When that part comes on, you just got to say it with your whole chest and really mean it. You know, I feel like Aubrey felt that coming through, and he's probably crying somewhere.
And then the other aspect of the performance that I enjoyed is, like I said, Kendrick staying true to who he is with the different symbolism of stuff going on. Now, while I'm not the one to really dive deep into that, but starting with just colors, we can start red, white, and blue. The
Uncle Sam,
yes,
Sam,
definitely the Uncle Sam. Just if you listen to the things that at least Samuel Jackson, I got it.
The American Games.
I got a Dave Chappelle skit stuck in my head whenever I say Samuel Jackson. So if you've ever seen the Chappelle Show skit with the Samuel L. Jackson beer, if not, I'll send it to you. So, but with the him playing Uncle Sam, and then the things that were being said by him, and then also just different symbolism of like just showing us where we stand as a country, basically. How things are just
the flag divided. Oh,
yes.
Beautiful imagery.
Yes. And then there's also a whole bunch of other little just words referencing that.
Revolution being televised. He was right.
The revolution being televised,
but
you chose the wrong guy.
Yeah.
I love that line.
Yes.
Line. But yeah, it's like I said, just Kendrick staying true to who he is and not just caving into the other,
not just trying to give us a flashy show. Like he gave something that went over so many people's heads, and I know we're not really the place to really dive deep into that symbolism, but there are a lot of, like, if you feel like parts of that went over your head, there are a lot of people that have put together some really awesome videos breaking down a lot of the symbolism. I'm going to try to compile some so they can be in the caption below so you can really get more understanding there, because that's kind of not really what we do here, but I feel like we'd be failing if we didn't mention that symbolism did exist.
Mm-hmm. And for me, the one thing like coming out of it that I like dislike, which is just the internet thing, but you understand that this is a pocket of people, the people who just come on as like, oh, that Super Bowl performance is whack, and it's just like some of these people are the same people who followed this whole beef up until where it is, and just to come out and say it's whack, and then you don't really give a reason, and you're just saying it's whack just to say it's whack. It's like,
you know why though, John? They wanted to be entertained. They didn't want to be educated. And I feel like for the moment that we're in right now, I feel like Kendrick was the right move. We've seen how many flashy performers do the flashy performer things, and it's entertaining in the moment, but how much of it do we really talk about when it's done? And plus, it doubled down, maybe tripled down on the fact that Aubrey's going to keep catching these verbal hands every time Kendrick opens his mouth.
Yep. I can't wait to see what the next chapter of this dog walking is.
His words are rated E for everything that Drake has ever done. He's gonna find out about it. He's gonna write it. Like Drake should just quit while he's behind. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, that's it. Don't acknowledge it. I believe he's in Australia right now, on a tour.
That's good for him. That's as far away as he can get, I think.
I would love to know how the crowd reacts to him.
I feel like if you're a person that's heard any of the controversy about Drake and you're still like rolling up to his shows and paying that money, you probably don't care about what Kendrick has to say.
This is true.
I feel like there's because concerts are expensive. Oh, I don't know when the last time it was that you went to a concert, but concerts are expensive.
The last time I went to a concert was Justin Timberlake.
Was it the Future Sex Love Show?
No, I think this is when 2020. I don't remember the name of the album. I'm thinking hard.
The 2020 Experience?
Yes, that album. I think that's when I went. Jay-Z was also at that show.
Last time I saw him was Future Sex Love Show. That was the name of the tour, and Pink was his opener. She's a phenomenal performer. She was doing aerial stuff. I was like, how is she singing and doing this? I don't even know, but it was good. It was good.
Now here's where I exposed myself. That was only the second concert I've ever been to in my life, and remains still the second concert. I've only been to 2 concerts.
I've been to a few. Oh, I don't want to tell you the last one. The last one's embarrassing.
The first one I went to was LL Cool J.
Oh, my first one was Cranberries and Collective Soul. So happy I got to see Cranberries live, because there's something about seeing Zombies being sung by the original singer, like not at her peak, obviously, because I'm not that old, but you know, it was good stuff. My last concert was when B2K went back on tour. It was like B2K, Yin Yang Twins, Mario. Like, it was basically like all the 2000s, like, whatever singers.
My wife is gonna hear this part and she's gonna be like, you know, you're her best friend. Like, why you would invite her? Like, that's the reaction she gonna have.
And that was my first trip to Chicago too. That's where I found my love of deep dish pizza.
Look at you.
Look at that, strolling down. Lore unlocked. We just have put an achievement sound here. Boop, boop. We did it.
Always traveling the world.
Oh, but this time, John, it was you that traveled the world this weekend. So you got to tell everybody about what you did.
I traveled the world 5 minutes from my house, so
Yeah, but you still went outside. Yay, John. John went outside, y'all. For something other than work. That's crazy. Go ahead.
I will be posting pictures here somewhere. Maybe a video if I can find any. But yeah, my wife hosted an event, a Valentine's Day gala, which is something that was done within her family, our family. They use this as an opportunity to help out the community, give the community something good to do. This year, she got a lot of different sponsors: Hope Rises Foundation, the American Heart Association. I know I'm forgetting because I always forget everything, but there's a couple other things. But yeah, she had some live music by a friend of ours. Her name is Janine. Amazing singer. It's awesome. Got a nice DJ. Had a local, I believe it was saxophonist. I believe proper term.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yes, by the name of Will Holton. He's very popular around these parts, and he came, did his thing. It's beautiful. We had a comedian. I can't remember his name at the moment, but yeah, it was very nice. We were just, dancing, having a good time. I learned how to do a bachata.
Ooh, all right, getting fancy.
I forgot it after the night ended though, so we just.
Dude, it's like 4 steps.
Yeah, but when you got 2 left feet, that's hard, Like, I think we was there for like 20 minutes doing it, and I was like, yo, like when she started incorporating the spin, I was like, yo, it's too.
All right, we're gonna give you reasons to practice.
I'm not.
Okay, that's fine.
Not as. It's hard. It's hard. But yeah, it was second year of her hosting, and it was a beautiful event. Most of the pictures you'll see everything, that decoration, centerpieces, all done by my wife. Just lovely.
Awesome. See, and me and Mr. Chaotic wanted to try to go, but then our kids had a competition that day, so maybe next year we can catch it. Depends on how the dates align next time, but it looks like you guys had a good time.
Maybe we'll see a lot of you in the chaos of Valentine's Day.
Oh, chaos. Speaking of chaos, how about that outage of the PlayStation Network for 24 hours? Did you see the crash outs happening online?
I don't use PlayStation, so I don't care.
So here's my thing, y'all, and we can talk about this a little bit more, maybe.
I like
this
how you
is
just
why,
rolled by it, like.
Because I know you already. I know I can't convince you to use PlayStation Network, and this is definitely not going to help you. So it is what it is. But here's my thing. This is why you cannot put all of your eggs in one game basket. Because if Xbox Live was down and you couldn't play none of your games for 24 hours. You had nothing else to play, you'd be crashing out too, John. You need to have, like, if you can afford it, because I understand the world we live in, it might not be feasible. But if you can afford to have more than one gaming system and it's not just like blind loyalty, you should probably like have a backup for when these kinds of things happen. Especially like John, as you, both of us as streamers, an income loss, if we were weekend streamers and we lost out on 24 hours worth of income, that's serious. That's people that you didn't grab the attention of. That's, you know, ad revenue that you wouldn't have made. There's a lot of different things that can happen over a 24-hour span for a streamer. So like for me, I have everything. I have my PC here that I'm on right now. I've got my PlayStation, I have my Switch, and I have an Xbox downstairs. So all else fails, I'll pull out an iPad and start playing mobile games if I got to. We're going to play something.
And I agree, but I also think that this should open up the other conversation of games, allowing me to play my games offline.
Yes.
That conversation. God.
That's never gonna happen.
It's look, we need to come back to that.
We can talk about it, but we're never getting back to games being able to just be played offline. Like, it's they make too much money forcing us to pay for their online stuff.
See, this is true, but when I have a single player game that doesn't even require me to be online, right? Yeah. Like, come on, like, why can't I get into those? You know, just this all. See, years ago when Xbox introduced it, everybody, you know, revolted
back in
against
my
it.
day.
Yeah, when the Xbox One first launched, and you know, everybody revolted against it, but then it became the norm. And you know, this is the one move that I hate. I hate it with a passion. It's just on PC, it's much easier to play a game without being online. But when you have a console, it's just like the majority of everything is locked behind online. So it's just like, yeah, PlayStation is down, but at the same time, there's so many conversations to be had. It's like, okay, so you got the two different ones we talked about. Now you got this other conversation. It's like, well, Xbox, maybe this would be an opportunity for you to say, hey, we just lost maybe near 40% of our customer base because everybody plays Call of Duty with an outage. So maybe we should invest in our own platform to build up our people. But hey, that's a conversation for another day.
I feel like the way that gaming is now, we're so dependent on being online for everything, and they're never going to take away that revenue generation of, you need to buy this PlayStation Plus, you need to buy this Game Pass. So for being out for 24 hours, they're giving 5 extra days of your PlayStation Live, whatever, pass. How do you feel about that, John?
I want a month. I want a month as compensation. I don't want no. I want a day, 5 days, 5 measly days. Nah. That's 5 measly days that I might not even be home to enjoy.
And if they add on to that weekend, then you're just getting 5 weekdays.
Exactly. That's I need more than that. And then on top of that, you know, since y'all being so secretive of what actually happened with this outage.
Oh.
So
I feel like we're in a world now where a lack of transparency is only going to do more harm, because somebody's going to slip up and say something to the right person and it's going to get out to us eventually. It always happens. For me, it's better to just say, hey, this is what happened. This is how we fixed it. This is how we're going to make sure it never happens again. And they're instead choosing the route of, we're just not going to tell them anything. We're just going to claim it's this thing and hope they believe us. And it's like, you're dwindling down our trust. And right now, when the console war is about to be a 2-player party, and Nintendo has loyalty that you can't ever buy, that's a really risky choice. Like a really risky choice. Especially now that Microsoft is like working with Nintendo. It's just, everything's going to be an Xbox. You're going to see crossovers on games that you've never seen before. Like, it's a risky choice. Just be honest. Be honest.
So years ago, when the big PlayStation outage happened, did that affect you directly?
Yeah.
I still wasn't on PlayStation actively at that time, so that whole time that it was down, it didn't affect me that much.
But I also still had all the I still had all the systems. We've always had all of the systems here. We have literally 5 Switches in this house. 5. Like, there's 2 PCs. There's an Xbox. Like, I'm gonna find a way to play something. And you can play your Xbox games on your phone too. So, like,
you're just gonna find a way.
I'll find a way. I will play something. I will find a way to entertain myself. Like, you can't put all your... If I really gotta go old school, I'll just go ahead and pull out my original Nintendo. Pop a cartridge in. It starts. Doesn't start? Blow in it a little bit, you're fine. Pop it back in. That little bit of spit and air fixes everything. Perfect. I'll find a way to play. I have no concerns about that.
Pulled out the real old school.
I mean, it's over there. It's like one of the pinned videos on my TikTok. You can see all of my older game systems. Like, it's not a joke. I really do have all those systems. They are in Rick's game room because I don't have space for it here with all these 3D printers. Like, it's there. All of the game systems are there, laid out very nicely, I might add.
Yeah, it's like today's kids don't know what it feels like to almost collapse your lung trying to get a game to work sometimes, man. Like,
but it works. It doesn't work until you spit just a little bit in there, and then it's fine. It's gross, but it works. Now, if your disc don't work, you're done. Throw out the whole system, because it's probably the system that's the problem.
That's a whole fact. Remember the Xbox 360? You the disc, you put it in, but I used to have. There was a point where I stood up. I had my console stand up. My brother came in the room one day and knocked it over. That disc was trashed. That disc was gone. I
remember my 360 getting red ring of death, and everybody's like, "This was unfixable," and I was like, "Nothing's unfixable." And I went on YouTube and found a video, and I really did fix it. But I was real frustrated after that for a while.
I had a red ring of death. I got it to work for a little while after that, but then it was like, nah, you getting this, we taking this out, and it just died. Sent it in, got it back, had another red ring of death. Then eventually, I believe that was a 360, so they had a 360 Slim, which was the all black one. I got that one, and eventually that one got a red ring of death too. And yeah, that was a fun.
Man, those
fun
Xboxes
time.
Sure do love those red rings, eh?
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous.
But it is what it is.
Oh yes. And I wish just Sony would just, tell us, hey, this is what happened. Yeah, just because, last time it was a very serious thing. And if they would just at least confirm that, hey, it wasn't this, this was going on.
But that's what makes people think that it is the same as last time, because they're being so secretive, which means whatever they did to safeguard against that happening again failed. They were not prepared.
Yep. And hopefully in a couple of days, maybe we'll have more information on that.
I doubt it, but we can see. We'll see.
So, Rocksteady, WB, this whole ordeal. So
what was it? 300 million in loss?
Yes. This is also another greater conversation in gaming, because we covered it before, which is the games as a service. Because WB is also one of these publishers that wanted to put their WB is the dumbest one of them all, because they've put out several games that try to cash in on this games as a service thing and still keep saying we're going to keep making more.
Which even you should try one, like dip your toe in the water, and if it doesn't work, then like maybe don't jump in with the sharks.
The most recent failure, the squad game with the Justice League, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. It was a colossal failure. I think we covered this before.
Mm-hmm. It's a frequent topic here, because it brings back to the one stance that you and I always agree on wholeheartedly, and that's that we do not like games as a service. Mm-hmm. We like it when we can buy a game and play the game, and that's it.
And
like, stop charging us for nonsense.
Yep.
and microtransactions. This is not a mobile game. I hate that mobile games do games as microtransactions, but it makes sense. For like a console game where I'm spending a lot of money up front, or I'm not spending anything, but you're telling me it's free to play and it's not really free to play, like I don't want to. Don't lie to me. Just charge me the $70. I'll just pay. Like if I really want to play it, I'll pay the $70.
And then you also had another game, which I don't really talk about much, is Gotham Knights, which is another multiplayer games as a service, but that one wasn't as bad as Suicide Squad. But the stance or my gripe with this whole thing is, so Rocksteady is one of the more popular studios. This is the studio that put out the Batman trilogy, which was Batman trilogy, which was Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Knight. Those are okay, except for the last one. That's a discussion unto itself. But those three games were kind of a shot in the arm for superhero games. Kind of revived, gave you the foundation of what eventually became Spider-Man. So
Good games.
Oh yeah, they are.
I didn't play them,
games.
but I watched Rick. I watched Rick play them, and they looked awesome. Although there's no way Batman was not killing all those people. For sure they were dead.
So we just gonna have to have a discussion about, what's the exchange to get you to play. So if we could get The Last of Us to work, we're gonna get one of these, Spider-Man or Batman.
I'll play Spider-Man. Spider-Man looks fun.
But yeah, so my gripe with it is Rocksteady. It feels like what WB is doing is just saying, hey, so since you were good at making Batman, just go make another Batman game, which I hate. I absolutely hate it. Yeah. Because there's so much other superhero things within even the DC template that they can dive into that would be interesting. Batman, for me, as just a video game, is played out already. Let's move them to something else. If you want them to be great and do what they do, which is single player storytelling in the comic book world, let them at least move to another hero. And then you have another game that's been sitting. It feels like GTA to me. Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was announced with a trailer, which it was a teaser trailer.
GTA 6.
It's almost here.
That game doesn't exist. I'll believe it when it's in your hands.
I got you in 2 years. Wonder Woman.
Add a 0 to the end of that. You'll be playing it with your grandkids.
Wonder Woman had a trailer, a teaser trailer, which I think is almost 2 or 3 years old at this point. Exactly for a teaser.
That game's not coming.
Never seen or heard from it again at this point.
It's being made in studio that's making GTA 6.
Hey, yo. Stop hating on Rockstar, all right?
Go ahead.
Gosh, stop hating on Rockstar. Rockstar be having bangers, all right?
When they come out, yeah, sure.
It takes a while, but they eventually come out.
So Wonder Woman.
You lost me now. I don't want to talk about it no more.
I just think it's so funny. Why bother making a teaser for a game either so early in development that by the time you have any gameplay to show us, we've long forgotten that this game even exists? Or show us a teaser for a game and then decide later on, forget that game. We're not going to make that. And then not say anything to anybody. Be like, hey, just playing. My bad. Say something. Don't just leave us hanging. And it's maybe some people were actually waiting for an update, watching their socials. Dang, it's been 3 years. Maybe there's something now. It's you know what kills me with that? And I hate to say this. I hate it. Mass Effect. I love Mass Effect. You give us this teaser trailer for the new Mass Effect years ago. I can't even remember how long it's been. And we have nothing. N7 Day came and went. All I got for that was some armor and Dragon Age Veilguard. What are you doing? Really, what are you doing? Can I have something? Because I've been waiting. I'm excited about it. I want to see it.
I know you're not going to like this, but I feel like we live in a world where that game may never see the light of day.
I know, not after all the people got fired.
It's that, and then there's also EA in general, the way that they've been talking about BioWare, and it's just like...
But, the Mass Effect Remastered Trilogy was one of their best-selling, like, games. So I feel like they would come back if everything was right for Mass Effect. I feel like they wouldn't just let it die, because Mass Effect has the kind of following that will buy whatever you put out. They might trash it afterwards if it's garbage, but they will buy it. I'll buy it.
I'm gonna tell you why I disagree with that, because you have another franchise that EA owns where people are literally like, take my money, in Dead Space. Yes, Dead Space is not Mass Effect, but it has its cult classic. It's cult classic. It has its following. They did the Dead Space remake, and everybody was so excited. It sold well, and everybody's like, we need to do part 2. Mm-hmm. But they're like, no, we're not doing part 2. Why? You got easy money right there. Just...
But, like, here's the thing. Why is EA the game killer?
I hate...
You're a game company. You're supposed to make games that people enjoy, but when you get involved with game companies, you kill things. Why? From the inside? Like, you gotta kill it from the inside? You can't just, like, I don't know, maybe don't touch it? Leave it alone?
Here's the big conversation. I hate EA.
Most people do. Yeah.
EA is the reason.
Valid.
In my opinion, EA is the reason for games as a service.
Money.
Because the microtransaction thing, if Madden Ultimate Team didn't exist, FIFA Ultimate Team didn't exist, it's those two things right there that has been a big problem for the industry and what everybody is chasing. And I'm a person who used to love Madden. I used to play Madden religiously. Madden hasn't had a game update that is worth my time in so many years, and it hurts my soul that people continue to buy this game and want to pretend it's a new game instead of just saying the truth is, hey, they're recycling features from years ago and trying to sell me it as a new feature. Like, if we call it simple, they took refs out the game for like 2 years, brought refs back, and everybody's like, oh my god, there's refs in the game. And I was like, really? You're going to celebrate that? Something they had in the game a couple years ago.
Here's the thing. This is the human condition at work. The hardest thing for most people to be willing to admit is that they were the fool. No one ever wants to admit that someone or something pulled the wool over their eyes. So for them to admit to themselves, hey, these games have actually been recycling things for years, is requiring a lot of people to stare long and hard in a mirror that they don't want to look at. They just don't. That's reality. I mean, do you like feeling like a fool? I don't like feeling like a fool. Listen, I'd rather walk around and be like, that game was great, than admit that I was a dummy half the time. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding. I actually do admit when games are bad, but like, it's hard. It's hard to sit there and be like, I'm a hardcore fan of this thing that keeps lying to me and recycling stuff and treating me like I'm stupid, but I'm going to keep going back to it. It's like having an abusive relationship with a game company. You know they're going to make you look stupid in front of all your friends, but you're still going to keep going back.
And that's why, the allegiance to games sometimes is just like, it's okay to say, it's bad, like, yeah. And then I also hate like the people, the companies that review games. We'll go even deeper, especially reviewing sports games in general. It's like, instead of being honest, or can you keep in the person who reviewed the game last year and just say, hey, this is a repetition of what happened last year. We get a review that says, hey, this game is what it is, 7 out of 10. Why? You're giving the same product we have, a 7 out of 10. Why? Just, let's be honest.
When it should really be like a comparison. Like, I feel like if a sports game review doesn't have a comparison with what the last one had and didn't have versus what this one does, what are you even doing? What's the point of even doing the review? I want to know what changed. And if it's something that existed 2 versions before, I want you to call that out too. And if you don't know that, you shouldn't be doing the review.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm at a point where I feel like all sports games should just be, you give me the one game and I'm paying for a roster update. Like that's
Yeah.
literally what it is right now.
But if that's the case, then you could just push that as a DLC, just fully digital. Here you go. You want the newest roster? It's $40. You don't have to do any physical packaging. You'll still be able to get some stuff off. And look, you don't have to make any major updates to gameplay. You're just giving them new faces to play with. Like, just call it what it is. Like, why? Why even bother? And then plus side, you could have like, you know, peak Patriots play against the peak Eagles or the peak Chiefs or the peak whoever. You could choose the year that you like that team the best. Get that lineup and roll with it. There you go.
But
if you use my idea, I want a cut. I said it first.
Right, getting a cut from EA. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
They'll cut me before I get a cut.
Exactly. And going backwards is just like with BioWare in particular, is just like I want to hope that they get a fair shake to make whatever this next Mass Effect is.
They got rid of the writers they didn't like. If they don't make this Mass Effect, I feel like BioWare is shooting itself in the foot in such a way that they're not ever going to have anything as big as Mass Effect again.
Yeah, and
because they've already shot themselves in the foot with Dragon Age. A lot of people did not like that. I think the marketing around that game was terrible, and a lot of people didn't give it a fair shake, but it is what it is.
And it's for me, it's like with Mass Effect, I just kind of hope that, hey, you give BioWare the opportunity to be BioWare again.
Bring back the original writers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Let them write the story they really wanted. People think that Shepard's still alive. I don't think Shepard's still alive. I think that's crazy. But I mean, Shepard's been brought back from the dead before. Who knows? Liara is very persistent. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, though, if your decisions and everything from the trilogy carry forward, since it's technically the same world. I mean, technically Andromeda was also in the same world, but they were the people that were able to escape. So it'd be interesting to see like what they make canon for this game, if it ever does come to pass.
I'm interested to see what they choose to be the canon ending. Like that's the where are we picking up from? Like I feel like whatever happens, if we are playing as another Shepard, the Shepard should be different from the original Shepard. Like
I feel like it's going to be destruction.
We'll see. I would like,
or this will be our other GTA 6 for the vaults. It's for the vaults.
I mean, if we have to be fair, right? GTA 6, it does exist. It did have those leaks. Remember? Yeah.
Leaks mean nothing.
No, like the game leaked out and it was all over the internet.
I know, but leaks don't mean that we're going to get to a finished product.
I mean, that is true, but it's Rockstar.
I mean, once upon a time, I would say that about a lot of gaming companies. So you never know.
I know everybody.
You never know when their bad day comes.
This is true.
Betrayal is always waiting around the corner. That's why you have to embrace the chaos. Just let it guide you and see where it goes.
It's okay. When GTA 6 come out, you're gonna be playing it with me.
Okay. We're probably gonna be in like the old folks' home, drooling on ourselves, but you know, whatever.
I mean, you're gonna be there before me, so.
Wow. Not really. Actually, men typically go first.
That is true, but you got a couple decades on me, so.
You're already falling apart, so.
I mean, that's cool, but you know, you're falling apart faster than me.
No, actually, I'm pretty healthy now.
So
anyway.
You're playing The Last of Us.
I am. A game that I never thought I would play as a certified chicken baby. Mostly because the things run at you, and I don't like when undead-ish, possessed-ish. I don't really know. I can't really tell. Like, they're technically zombies, but they look kind of alive still. The infected. Okay, I like that better. So I don't like that they run at you. But yeah, this was, full fairness, this was the exchange that me and John had. I got him to play Demonology. In exchange, I had to play Last of Us Part 1, and I had to do it on stream, which hasn't been that bad. I've gotten, by Rick's estimate, maybe halfway through the game. I've been really,
a little
yeah.
bit more than halfway, but yeah.
I've been really lucky with people popping up in streams and not spoiling it for me, which is great. So I've been just kind of able to experience the story myself. It's not going too bad. I've gotten really good at stealthily murdering an entire room of men. Not so good when it's an entire room of clickers, but we're getting there. But yeah, it's been a really good experience. And I think for me, because I watched Rick play the games, but of course there's parts I didn't see because I wasn't with him 24/7. And then having watched the show on HBO and seeing the differences in how those story parts play out, I think that overall was just a really good experience. I really like how they expanded on some of the stories, like with the story of Bill and Frank. You actually got to see like a full-fledged envisioning of what their story looked like. It was different from the story in the game, which I got to call that out. It's not the same story because in the game you just see like a letter and you see that Frank had ended his own life because he got bit. Whereas in the show, he gets really sick and, you know, Bill tries to find all the medicine he can. There's nothing he can do about it. We don't really know what he's sick with, but I mean, I feel like we can make some assumptions that it was probably cancer or something like cancer, probably based on how things happened. And they decided to go out on their own terms. They had one nice last meal and it was full of a lot of things, and they went to sleep next to each other, and that was it. They went peacefully together. So I think I like that some of those stories kind of changed a little bit, because I feel like what happens with Bill and Frank in the game is just kind of ugly and very short and very brief. But then you also come across, I believe it was Sam and Henry, the brothers. Mm-hmm. And that story plays out pretty much the same in the show, and it's heartbreaking. That was one part that I was prepared for. I knew exactly what was going to happen because I also saw that part when Rick was playing the game, so that was rough. But I feel like this game, as much as I was really scared of like the different elements, like the infected, also the humans, because there's nothing scarier than people post-apocalypse just trying to survive. Desperation is a very intense motivator, and it can change a person fundamentally at their core. Just being able to see that and kind of see how it compares in the experience. I don't know. It's a rough game, but I'm glad I'm playing it. It's a very emotional game, very stressful at times. Apparently, I've got some really terrible things to come, so that's great. Yeah, I'm excited. Maybe I'll finish it this week. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe by the next stream, I'll be able to talk about it. I got 3 days of streaming, although maybe a couple short streams because we've got games and stuff. But you know, we'll see. We'll see where we end up.
Yeah, I'm happy to see you playing it. I think Last of Us is like one of those, like when we talk about like top games ever, like I feel like it definitely belongs like up there. Just like when you put no biases in it, like nothing,
No.
it's
just an incredible game.
Exactly.
It's a story.
Got to be in that pantheon.
And what's crazy for me is typically I don't like games that are very linear in nature, and I feel like that's one of them, which like it's a very, very linear game. It's like you're gonna go here, and then you're gonna go here, and then you got to get past these guys, and there's not really a lot of deviation there. Like the only deviation really is like searching for stuff, but I haven't really seen any actual choice. And that for me, typically for a story game, I'm just kind of like. But for this one, I feel like I'm so enthralled in the story as it is that I'm actually not bothered by the fact that it's kind of linear. It's for me, it's enough. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's for me. It's also one of those games that makes you invest in your surroundings, mm-hmm. because there's a lot of story that's being told in little things, notes that you pick up.
Yep.
Oh
yes, the story of the people in the sewers, Ish.
Yes.
And his crew of survivors. Oh my God, heartbreaking.
I love how that technically gets expanded upon in the show, in Henry and Sam, because in the show, I believe that setting is used to also explain how we got a bloater mm-hmm. in the show, which I loved how they expanded upon that idea.
Yeah.
So it's like between the show and the game, I just love the direction the show chose to go, which is, hey, we're gonna do kind of keep that the main story, but we're gonna take these opportunities to expand upon other little things that happen throughout the game, and for me it works out great that way. The next season, it's gonna be interesting. Interesting.
Because anybody who hasn't played the game is gonna be real mad. I remember Rick starting part 2, and I was sitting there with him, and that game opens, and what happens, and he just got up for a minute and walked away. He just like he did one of these, right? He was like, and it was gone. He just walked away. I was like, right?
I feel like part 2 is a very divisive game.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go into spoilers for you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go that far.
Well, I know. I saw enough of it to know that like it's not black and white. It's very gray. And if you look at all sides of it, not just the side that you were on,
for me
when
personally,
you do that much bad, you kind of earn stuff like that.
For me personally, the very first playthrough I was like, but I think by the time I think I've played it a couple times. My third playthrough is when I was like, you know what, let me remove my bias and let me actually digest the story that they're trying to tell me. And now today I'm like, you know what, I enjoy the story that you guys are telling me.
Yeah, it's nuance. There's nuance there.
Yeah, the very first time I was like, oh. But
you were just mad.
Exactly. Then like I said, it took me that third playthrough to go, you know what, like let me digest this story.
Like it's bigger than just my feelings on the character that I played.
Exactly. So yeah, without getting too deep into spoilers.
I know. I think I watched him play more of that game than the first one. Mm-hmm. So like I understood. I feel like for me it was easier for me to look at it through that unbiased lens because I didn't have a horse in the game. I didn't play the first game. I watched it like it was a show. So coming in and seeing the second, I was like, that happened, and I was like, but look at all the things that got him here, though. Like,
to be honest, the whole thing that played into that, which made it as big a deal as it was the outright lie that they was telling in marketing, because I mean, you know who it is. When it happens throughout the marketing of it, he's littered throughout the game. Like they literally took another character's body and put him there. So leading into the trailers and all this, you're kind of, oh, okay, this is going to be a great story involving this character and Ellie. But then, you know, you get the game and what happens, and it's like, wait, hold on, what's going on? So now you get conditioned to think, is this gonna be this? But nowhere else in the game is he there. So
but would what happens be as impactful if you were expecting it to come?
But I think there's a different way to handle it.
No. There was no way that they could have marketed it and had you still be surprised at the beginning. Because if they started marketing it and you saw like a short clip of him and then the rest of them are just her by herself, you'd be like,
I would.
What's happening here? Why? Like, where
I
do you
disagree
go?
from the standpoint of the first section of the game is at least a solid 3 to 4 hours of gameplay. If they only showed me trailers, snippets of that first 3 to 4 hours of gameplay, I wouldn't have known. But you're showing me different parts of the game throughout the game with him in it, which is why I'm like, that is deceptive marketing to me. Yeah. It's like, I go back, the Avengers trailer, Avengers and Avengers Infinity War. Yeah, this whole scene with the Hulk involved in it, and the Hulk is only in the movie for like 5 minutes. It's like, it's like I get it to throw people off, but it's like that. I find it a level of deception that I don't like.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like you can, if you want to have a trailer, not tell me anything, you can do that. It's already been done. There are perfect examples of this all the time, of things that have long run times and only literally show me maybe the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie cut in elaborate ways. But like that is, you know, the way they chose to market it with the trailers that were being dropped at the time. It's like, and you didn't even have to show me gameplay. You could have made your own CGI trailers like everybody else does. So I know you don't like it. It's okay.
No, you know, I can understand it. I understand why they did it. They wanted to keep it under wraps as much as they could. It's like, it's no different than any movie that features Tom Holland. Every movie, they didn't tell him nothing. He thought at the scene where they were like sad for Tony Stark's funeral, he thought they were there for a wedding. He was the only one smiling. And I always thought that was so funny that like in that scene, he's the only one smiling because he thought they were there for something happy. And I'm like, did you not look at the clothes everybody's wearing? Like, these are not happy wedding colors, bro. Like, context clues. But he's just like,
it's a goth wedding.
He's just sweet little dude, good heart. He's like, they wouldn't lie to me. Yes, they would. You're a blabbermouth. So I feel like it's the same thing in this situation. They had to Tom Holland it. It's all right. We can agree to disagree. It's fine.
Oh no, like it's aside from the trailer. There's other reasons why that game is controversial. So
I'll play it. I'll play it probably. Who knows?
Come on, you got to. You already did the first one. You might as well do the second one too.
We'll see, because I have a game coming out in like a week, so
I forgot what game it is, and we talked about it like last week. See how
that's the In Bloom Blood and Rage, the Telltale game.
It'll always be there. Could go play Last of Us.
So will Last of Us Part 2.
No. That's the new season is coming out. You gotta play the game before you get to the new season. You know.
I already watched the play. It's fine. It is what it is. You know. Circle back to it when I circle back. We'll see what I have time for. Honestly, I like, and this is, I think, why, for me, the only option was to be a variety streamer, because I like so many different things, and I like, at times, being able to switch it up depending on my mood. Like, today is a perfect example of that. Typically, I would have streamed It Takes Two with Rick, and we would have just played that. Instead, we played Demonologist, and that ended up being hilarious. So, you know, there'll probably be a clip floating around out there of something that happened to John in game. It took me about 30 minutes afterwards to stop laughing about it. I was laughing so hard I was crying. So, like, you know, I like being able to switch it up.
I'm sitting here saying, how long is it going to take before you to break right now?
It's hard, man. It's hard. I'm trying. If you go to my Twitch, Chaotic 3 Gaming, it'll be linked somewhere. There's a clip of what happened to John, and it is the funniest clip. And I will tell you that it is titled "When the Ghost Says Up Yours" and means that. Go find that. Go find it. I just want to know. And when you find it, right, I just want you to tell me if you laughed for at least 5 minutes like I did, because I laughed so hard I cried. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, God, what's it? What? No! No! It put his head in his own butt. I want to get out. Why did it do that? Why did it put your head in your butt? Oh my. Couldn't even get together for this for a while. John kept having asked me if I was ready, and I was just like, no. I was still laughing.
I'm gonna make sure this part of the podcast never sees the light of day. So that's
fine. I'll just post the clip on our podcast TikTok. I'll post it everywhere.
But with that, it's time to bring it to an end.
Oh no! Are we really at time?
Yeah, we are. It's crazy,
we didn't
right?
even cover D&D this time.
I know, right?
Crazy.
I mean, if you want to make it quick.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll cover it in the next one.
Exactly.
So how about we just make this our personal appeal? Ask us your D&D questions. I mean, by us, I mean me, because John, as I said he doesn't really know anything yet.
I
But this is
know
a good way
lot
for
of
him to learn
things.
too. So yeah,
Gosh.
what do you want to know about Dungeons and Dragons from a, I've done a few campaigns now. I've been playing for a few years now. I know some stuff. I'm not a DM, but I played a few different types of characters. So drop your questions. What are you curious about? Let me know. And you know what? Let's not limit it to D&D. Anything about games. If there's something about games you're curious about, just drop a question. We can have an Ask Me Anything segment at the end.
What's your worst game?
Oh, my worst game? Like the worst game that for me playing it?
Sure.
So there is a blemish on my record. A game that I never finished. When I was a wee little girl, I had a Nintendo 64. I actually still have the Nintendo 64. And I played Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And the first time that it became nighttime, I was so scared of the little shambly things that I never played it again. Never played it. I have to finish that game. I have to go back to it. It's disgraceful.
Arguably one of the best Zelda games in the bunch.
I know.
Like,
I was so
Ocarina of
scared.
Time?
I know.
Wow.
I gotta go back to it. That's actually on my to-do list to go back to, so I'm gonna get there. I know. It's a blemish on my record.
I look at you differently right now.
That's alright.
The Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Wow.
But what about yours?
I mean, if we talk about
mean-
games not finished, I could name a whole bunch.
All of them? Okay. So never mind. Let's choose a shorter list.
I need a better question, I guess. I need a more direct question.
Oh, what's a game that you played that you hated the most?
A game that I played that I hated the most.
You would rather walk on hot coals than play it again.
That's a game I played recently. Jet Li Rise to Honor. I ain't never playing that game again.
Because it was so hard?
You didn't get to witness those streams. I would never play that game again. I don't care what's going on. I ain't never ever playing that game again. It was like that one time experience. By the time I got to that, and I was alright, that was cool. But I ain't never playing this again. Because once you start, the beginning of the game is cool, but then that game is a different level of hard. I spent a long time on those streams of trying to get through the end, which is running a gauntlet, and it was just when I finally did it, I was sigh of relief. I had so many people in those streams just yo, you need to try to do this, you need to try to do that, and it's yo, I'm trying, man. You watching me try to. It's going back and forth. I'm yo, look,
I'm not good enough.
Literally. But the thing is yo, nah, I love how people will always come yo, I remember this part of the game, I remember struggling on this too. He's you just gotta keep trying, and I'm yo, I am, and I was yo, I'm really ready.
That's how I know that they didn't know you at all, because you are not the just keep trying guy.
Nah, like that.
You're nah, I'm good.
That game was different. That game
that was brutal.
That game was different. That's a PS2 game. Jet Li Rise to Honor. If you haven't played it, it's definitely a fun first time.
I have no urge.
No, it's not for you. It's not for you. We're talking to everybody else. It's not for you. But yeah, it's for me. I feel like it's a game ahead of its time. Because that was all about using the joystick to fight. It's not button pressing. It's using the joystick to directionally fight, which is also what makes it complicated. So it's a game, like I said, ahead of its time. Yeah. I feel like what they were trying to do is definitely a great concept. I kind of feel like after playing that, I feel like there should be some studio out there that should try to implement that into today's game. But yeah. Before I go on too long, now it's time to close it up.
Ooh, it's my turn. All right, y'all. So we learned a lesson from Kendrick this week. You gotta embrace the chaos within and be a menace. Just do it. Who cares? Have fun. Bye, everybody.
They're not like us.
They're not like us.